Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to my home studio, and welcome to Luthiers Question Time, episode 95. This is where I answer your questions and chat with you about guitar building and stuff. It is 8 p.m. UK time on Sunday evening, and this is a weekly happening. One might even call it an event. Or possibly I'm just so far up my own arse that, yeah, I'm believing fallacies. But anyway, welcome. Alrighty, so we have got Black Wraith, Stephen Hatch, Luther for Builds, Tutankhamun, Robert R, how you doing Robert, Rab Knox, and Borgonian Evolution, as well as SM Myers. Oh yeah, I did say a 4-letter word within the first, how long? Luther Builds. We've got a bunch of the usual people in the house. Lucent Custom Guitars, Alfred Kane, Fluid Focus, how you doing Mr. Tuxedo 89, Old Man Bill is in the house. Lisa Harshberger, how are you Lisa? I am fully aware that you've sent me 2 emails now and I really need to sit down and actually spend some time doing some administration. No YouTube, I do not want to insert ads. Thank you very much. Anyhow, this is what it is. Ask me questions. If you want to guarantee an answer as the thing gets going, then a super chat is both much appreciated because, you know, it supports the channel and keeps me, well, it keeps this whole thing going and keeps Crimson alive. And if not, I will trawl through the chat, but can't guarantee that I will see your question. We've got both Lisas in the building today. Both Lisas, how are you? Tom Woods, Ape Song, live and well coming in from Paris. Whew. Alrighty, so now, are we all happy? There is some questions coming through. You guys are fantastic. Sweet Tea Guitars, I seem to see some mentions of Todd, therefore he must be in the house as well. How you doing, Todd? Kevin Harvey even. Alrighty, so sporadic amnesic in at the start with an evening, Mr. Crowe. Hope all is well. All is well. It's raining and I'm warm and in my workshop. I spent some time today removing some of the extraneous drawer units and things that I have in here that didn't actually have much use to go over to headquarters where I have a dearth of drawer units. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening at headquarters tomorrow, which is going to be fun. Anyway, he says, hope all is well. I got some of your coffee the other day and got to try it yesterday. Very tasty stuff. Thank you very, very much for the plug as well. I am seriously considering, so this live stream, by the time our time is up, my throat is always dry, and I thought after last week that the very best solution to that would be some decaf iced coffee. This is 8 p.m. in the evening, of course, and unfortunately we don't currently make a decaf version of our blend, nor am I intelligent enough to remind myself that I want to pick up some decaf because, you know, up to this point it was sacrilegious almost. Anyhow, it's all fun and games. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and thank you for your support. Very much appreciated. Alrighty, JS Trucking and Guitars, who's been a member for 7 months on this channel, says, good afternoon, Ben. Quick question. Would you route the neck pocket first or the neck break angle first? Generally, I would do both at the same time, so I route the neck pocket with the neck pocket template angled up. Now, if your template is on a long enough piece of wood, my favorite way, not necessarily the very best, my favorite way of routing a neck break angle into a guitar is to put a standard wooden HB pencil at the bridge line. And that pushes your template up at around about 1.5 degrees and seems to be spot on. So there we go. The alternative would be on a different type of guitar, Les Paul or similar, to do a similar trick. You put a pencil at the bridge line and then run the back of your long plane off the pencil and the front at the neck pocket, and that planes down and goes at an angle which is very close, if not perfect, to what you want. And then your template just goes flat on that, and essentially you don't have to put an angle in the neck pocket or on the neck itself. Now, all of these things being said, I'm going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons and say, if I was given the choice, well, yeah, I would do the first thing, but oftentimes I actually will put the neck angle onto the back of the neck rather than into the pocket. Yeah, it just depends on where I'm at, and well, there we go. Big Unit Guitars, how you doing? It says, hey Ben, the Fret Slotty Mitre box is still out of stock on the website. Any updates on availability? Now, that should have been made. Let me just check. Okay, so that is currently in transit on its way to us. It should be out of stock, but the website does not appear to be working as it is supposed to be. Imminent. And this is annoying because this is a conversation that I had with somebody on Monday last week as a result of you wanting one of these. Hell, I'm almost tempted to send you my personal one, Big Unit. They are due with us imminent, and what I'd asked to do is we're changing the way things work. If we are absolutely certain that a tool or an item that we sell is going to be landing with us from one of our partners who manufacture various things, are part made for us. We simply don't have the capacity, for example, to laser cut this level of quality metal, etc. If I'm okay, this thing has been shipped, it's going to be with us in a week and a half, and at that point we will put it on the website and say, hey, you can order this. It will be shipping at this point to make life easier. That was supposed to have happened on that listing, but it does not appear to have, so my formal apologies. I'm on it. Anyhow, alrighty. Robert R. says, when I signed up on the site, I was looking for a surveyor to make sure of my property boundaries, not contractors. Phoned one surveyor, left a message, but have not gotten a response. I am not entirely sure what you're talking about. I should probably read the messages before I read them out, because that does not sound like anything to do with me. Alrighty. Stephen Hatch taunting me with talk of making coffee. I've currently got a lemon and ginger fruit tea here to see. But anyway, it's all fun and games. Okay, so I'm assuming that most of you have watched the hand tool only build that came out yesterday. I'm really, other than the fact that I had a big old whoopsie and put too much pressure on a fairly delicate clamp, which I'm now going to have to repair somehow. Yeah, it was a good episode, and that guitar is well on the way to completion. Where is she? Oh, stuff is moving. So yeah, we've got a back brace in there, and it was absolutely amazing. That's just a random bit of wood that shouldn't have been there. It's amazing the sound. This instrument was completely and utterly dead. See, like that. Yeah, completely dead before we started putting braces on. Same thing with the top. So yeah, there's a bit of work to do, make it fit in, and that will be coming on, and coming on nicely. Alrighty. So, I need questions, queries, comments, and criticisms. Robert R says, just trying to get some contractors lined up to get my shop building started. I feel your pain. We've been waiting for a particular contractor to do some work on the house here, and yeah, I'm probably going to have to start the search afresh, which means a 6-month delay. We can't seem to get anybody to do anything. Everybody's just so busy that, yeah, and I don't trust myself. Electricity and plumbing, no. No, thank you. Creeverai says, did I just see it correctly that the braces on the top are not parallel to each other? They are perfect. They're absolutely perfect. Actually, it does look like they're ever so slightly off. That's a very good eye you've got. The top one, I had some serious issues with slippage, if you will recall. Not that it makes any difference, it just annoys me that it happened. 12.7 and 12.5. So just randomly, while I was waving things around willy-nilly, Creeverai spotted a 2mm difference in parallelity. I'm sticking with that word. Fight me. I'm impressed, properly. There we go. Sporadic Amnesic says they're looking forward to seeing more of the Electroglide. You and me both. I properly love that guitar. I had never had extensive personal time with it. I'd met one in person at a guitar show, filmed with it a decade ago, I suppose, and knew I loved it, but that was it. And I had that guitar here at home for about a week after filming the unboxing. It's now at headquarters, and I love it, the way it feels. There is obviously, we've got a aluminium fretboard. It's hard anodized, but when you're bending, because it is vintage and has worn a little bit, there is scratching that feels, well, it feels like old dirty frets, so that's not so great. If you're not going to bend, it feels like playing a fretless guitar, but actually being able to intonate things with ease. It's super fun, and I am going to be doing a full teardown at some point in the not too distant future. Okay. Okay. Second note says, I think the digital age has made our eyes incredibly sharp for shapes and angles, etc. I absolutely agree, and more so, it's also, as I've said before in this forum, the precision of all things. The top builders of the day, 50, 60, 70, 100 years ago, were not particularly worried about a perfectly fitting inlay, for example. Nowadays, if there's even a small black line of filler, we're like, ooh, yeah, no, don't like that. We are so precise, and I think that even, even many of the competitors in the Great Guitar Build-Off now, if transported back 100 years, and I suppose given electricity and routers and all of that sort of stuff, their guitars, their instruments would absolutely knock the socks off many things made by people like D'Acquisto and I don't know, the only other name that comes to mind is D'Angelico, who was D'Acquisto's apprentice or master, one of the two. Let me know. Anyhow, it's all fun and games. Now, Paul Need says, hey Ben, how about the break angle for a neck through where everything seems to be the other way round? Okay, so with a break angle for a neck through, I will draw from the end of the fretboard where I am joining the body, and I will draw from that point on the neck blank to where the bridge is. And the only way to really do this properly is to on a piece of paper and life size, draw a string. Okay? Then you give yourself a 1.5mm action, for example, and then another 1.5mm for the height of your frets, and then you draw your fretboard. okay? Put your nut, put your 16th fret where I assume your body is going to join, and then at the bridge point, measure how high your bridge is. If you're using a tunematic, for example, your tunematic is going to be 14 millimeters high or 16 millimeters high. You want to put that at 17, so you've got some up and down movement. Mark that 17 millimeter point where the bridge is, and then connect that line with the line next to your at your 16th fret, and that there is your angle. And it doesn't matter what the angle actually is. It's probably 1.5 degrees or thereabouts. Does not matter. Does not matter at all. All you need to know that that is the angle, and draw accordingly on your blank and cut it. Double check. Use the physical bridge in place. Make sure you've got enough up and down movement. That's how I would do it with a 3-neck, period. Alrighty. David Oddy, how you doing? Hi Ben. Is it possible to repair a snapped headstock on a Gibson Les Paul successfully? 100%, absolutely. Now, it does depend entirely on what you have. Well, I seem to be skipping over messages and then going back. Anyway, it is entirely possible to repair a snapped Gibson Les Paul, or add the name brand of your choice. Gibson's Les Pauls and SGs in particular are rather bad for that. Hold on, hold that thought. Entirely successfully. Now, if it's a bad break, if it's a break that has particularly splintered, you're going to struggle, and there's going to be filler involved, and there's almost certainly going to have to be routing to put in strips of fresh, good, solid timber. And in the worst case, you have to do that from both sides, and it becomes relatively unattractive. You have to refinish, you have to repaint, etc., etc., etc. But in many cases, it can be done absolutely invisibly, like this never happened. And especially if it is done rapidly and quickly, relatively soon after the accident in question happens. The biggest issue is stopping a successful glue up with this sort of thing, where the headstock hasn't entirely come apart from the guitar, is dirt, dust, age, sweat, just crap getting in the cracks before you get around to fixing it. If this happens, repair it or get it repaired as soon as possible. And of course, I've got a really rather nice Les Paul here that I got for an absolute steal, because the headstock has cracked. And this one has actually been repaired fairly successfully by whoever had this guitar before, but I'm not sure if you can even see. Come on. This is a little bit awkward. I'm not sure if you can see what's going on there. So the crack is in the usual place, all the way down there. And it is what it is. Now, yeah, I'm uncertain. I think I might end up keeping this guitar as a personal instrument, but we shall see. For now, I just need to go off camera and hang her up. And we'll go from there. Big unit guitars. Friendly advice from the safety guy. If you need help with plumbing, check YouTube. If you need help with electrical, call an electrician. Plumbing is far less likely to kill you. Yeah, the last time I tried to do anything electrical, I looked at YouTube, and then whoever it was that had done the original job on this house, I was literally just trying to change a ceiling rose thing, had added all sorts of random stuff that shouldn't be there. It's just like, nope, let's close that up and walk away. So yeah, there we go. J.S. Trucking, Ben, what is that hiding in your chisel rack behind your head? It looks like a Lego man head on a bottle. It is a Lego Mandalorian. So yeah, well spotted. Beth McKellar, Ben, decaffeinated is such a sweary word. Mike Vickery, hey Ben, I watched the latest episode in Odyssey that is the hand tool only build. I loved your Flintstones hammer. What's the story behind it? It came into the vintage tool shop in a job lot of tools, and I just couldn't resist keeping it. I have no idea. I never thought I would ever use it. It just looks so funky. Now, off camera and actually unavailable, I can't really grab these things. They're in the units. There's one there. Where's the other one? I've got some incredibly cool ancient mallets, and one of them is made out of a curved piece of oak that was sold to me as a 17th century carver's mallet, and just mind-blowingly cool. I do want to know where it is now. That's really sad. Oh yeah, no, I see it. Never mind. We're all good. So yeah, I just like quirky, interesting, random tools. It's a hobby. It's a problem. What can you do there? Oh, Jay says not that one. Higher up on the chisel rack, not the plane rack. Okay, so back here there's a Lego Me that was commissioned by Mark Jennings for me, and then that one there. Hold on. Let's go and do that. So that's a Lego Me. They couldn't do the head tattoos, so it's me with a guitar. And then this was a very cool bobblehead present. I'm sure I unboxed this on the thing, but on this one, the artist actually did get the tattoos and everything. It just, yeah, so cool. Where is he? There he is. Anyway, on with guitars. On with guitars. All right, Sporadic Music says, my dad, who is not a luthier, fixed a snapped headstock on a Brunswick acoustic by epoxying a brass plate around the back of the neck. Absolutely valid, a valid repair. Unfortunately, epoxy getting into a poorly done headstock repair with epoxy is always a nightmare for the luthier, who ends up having to go in and rip all of that out and start again. Generally, use wood glue if at all possible. But yes, we've seen all sorts of random plates put on the back. In my opinion, with a little bit of anybody who uses tools should be able to repair a broken headstock. Really, good quality glue spooged in to a nice clean break, and then if necessary, after that you can put in splines or inlaid pieces of wood to just completely reinforce that. But if you're desperate and you don't care that the guitar isn't going to look original, then yeah, a piece of metal glued and bolted on the edge, on the back of the headstock, is absolutely doable. Okay. Graham B says, a message to all GGBO builders, thank you and well done. Thanks for all the inspiration. I just can't wait to get started building myself. You do it. I think, well, we'll see you next year. And I couldn't agree more. It's been absolutely inspiring seeing what people have made, and I'm almost glad I haven't watched through the process, because I'm seeing these finished guitars and going, holy wow. Just, yeah, supremely cool. Rab Knox, all you need to do is reply to them, is send an email through to Guild. Well, okay, I will check this out. You should have had an email come through saying what the voting process was, and that was what you replied to. But I'll check up with that tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Okay, ooh, here we go. What have we got going on? Discord questions. Hey, okay. I've just been distracted by a picture. I need to read the question first, but the picture is making me weak at the knees. It's of an old plane. Rocket Punk says, hey Ben, I just received a really cool vintage plane from eBay. It looks homemade to me, but absolutely awesome. However, now that I have it at home, there's something that's bugging me. As you can see in the second photo, there's a really thin groove, less than 0.5 of a millimeter, about its hair thin, right in the center of the sole. Other than that, it looks dead flat. Would that be a problem? Is it like that the plane with ridged soles to reduce friction? Should I flatten it? Have a great rest of your day and have a nice stream. That is an incredibly cool plane, and yes, it just looks like somebody's made it out of two L-shaped pieces of metal they've put together and then filled in, and you've got a blade, a plain blade and a handle and all that jazz. That's an incredibly cool jointing plane. Congratulations. That's so epic. Yeah, nice. Okay, Scotsman, first neck through first Floyd. Quite a learning experience. Cocktail sticks for side markers, lol. Wood is black limber, Goto hardware, etc. The photos here look incredible. Cocktail sticks as side dot markers. I can't believe I've never thought of that. Funnily enough, I've never used limber of any sort in any of my builds. I don't think. Diverging Guitars, howdy Ben, I'm building a semi-hollow through-neck 30-inch scale Jazzmaster Bass 6 for GGBO 22. Now, hashtag late guitar build-off because I'm slow. Another feeling, I really need to start mine. And frankly, you've still got 2 weeks. If you get your final video up, you might get some votes, although votes are coming in already. The top and back will be book-matched pieces of 8 to 9 millimeter thick flamed black walnut. I'm drooling into the microphone with 143 people watching. One of the students last week had the most incredible piece of flamed American black walnut I've ever seen. Anyway, with 1 or 2 F-holes to complicate my life and let the sound out. Question: do I need to put any bracing under the top piece for support as one does with an acoustic? Okay, no, you have got a central neck going all the way through, and the top will be resting on that. If you didn't have any support at all underneath the bridge, then you'd have an issue and you would need to start treating it like an acoustic. But as this is, it's just an incredibly cool looking instrument, and we all know the shape, and you should have enough support, in my opinion. Okay, so that is the Discord questions. If you guys are not yet on the Crimson Discord, then please check it out. Alrighty. Ooh. Okay, here we go. Stian TV says, hi, did you notice in episode 6 of Andor, the control knobs on a panel matching Boba Fett? I had a laugh when I saw them. I have not. Funnily enough, I only managed to watch 15 minutes of that episode when I had to stop to come and do this stream. Orson and I are watching them together. But here is me. You guys know how my brain works, or doesn't. And I'm pinging all over the place, everywhere, thinking about all sorts of stuff and half watching what's going on. I probably wouldn't have noticed it unless somebody points them out. Orson, who I'm watching this with, piped up halfway through episode 5 and going, okay, I understand now. And he decoded the epaulets of the soldiers and the general staff and the captains, etc. And he's figuring out what the different colors meant and what the different ranks would be. Oh, he's going to be the captain and he's in charge of him now because he's only got 2 red bits rather than 3. And wow, I didn't even notice the red bits, Orson. What the hell? So, yeah, he's better than me. Anyway, I'm going to I'm going to finish watching episode 6 and I'm going to look out for those. In fact, I've still got one here. Yep, I've got one here, so I'm going to take this up to the house, and Orson and I can look for that. He'll look for it and tell me when he spots it. How's that? JS Trucking and Guitars says, sorry, I haven't watched any of the competitors' videos yet. I'm waiting until I finish building mine, although late. I feel exactly the same. I was listening to something earlier. That was it. It was on Radio 4 as I was driving to pick up dinner. And this person says, do you know what? My entire life is creating content for radio, which means that I'm too busy to listen to the radio. And that's how I feel about guitars and guitar building, and sadly, the Great Guitar Build-Off. I'm so busy making what I'm making here, I don't have the time to sit down and watch oodles and oodles of guitar building videos. And when I do, by that point in my day, I've been thinking about, dreaming about guitars for so long that I want to watch anything but guitar building. But anyway, it's all good. Are you good? I'm good. I'm having a good evening already. Big Una Guitar says, a luthier friend fixed my old Les Paul headstock by gluing, biscuit jointing, and then skinning the back of the brake in carbon fiber and refinishing it. Absolutely valid. Hell, a carbon fiber bee sting on the back of... Ooh. I mean, that actually could... See, I get so distracted. So my original plan for this guitar was to see if it needed to be re-repaired, and honestly, it's very solid. So it's just a sand and refinish job. But yeah, it would be so cool to put a carbon fiber bee sting on there and refinish it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Now, I am seriously tempted to keep that guitar though. Yeah, I like the neck. I like the neck indeed. Okay, thank you, Krivara, you are fantastic. So I was about to ask Scott Davies, who sent through a £20 super chat, thank you very much, without a question. I was going to ask, hey, Scott, I'm sure you had a question, send it through, and it's come through here already. Scott Davies, would a valid relic of a Les Paul include a fix to the headstock before it needs one? Serious question. Could you go into detail of the angle of the saddle on the hand tool only build, please? So at this, okay, first of all, it's 50-50. I think that if I intentionally broke a Gibson headstock in order to create a proper relic, I think I would probably lose justifiably quite a few subscribers. It would be clickbaity as all hell though. By the way, talking about clickbait, I'm working on that Quirky guitar at the moment, and I've been told that a standard 5mm top of that Quirky stuff will sell for about $1,200 US. I am making a hollow body, which is, significantly thicker than a 5mm top. The clickbait title that I'm thinking is Insane Luthier creates $10,000 worth of sawdust. Yeah, something along those lines. Anyhow, the question, could you go into detail of the angle of the saddle on the hand tool only build, please? I have very carefully, not set the angle. I've not set anything yet. I've got my neck pocket, and that is flat, but I've also left more than enough room on the back of the neck to angle things up, and I've also got room to change the angle of the headstock in here, of the neck pocket in here. This is literally what's going to be happening next week. I need to cut the non-parallel braces down so they notch into the kerfing, and once I've got that sorted and the neck pocket dry fit and cut around here, etc., then I can figure out what I'm going to have to do and what angle I'm going to have to set. So that is something that I haven't come to yet, but yeah, a valid and a good question. Okay, Sweet Tea Guitars. Todd, how you doing? Says, I'm so glad you like black walnut. Yeah, really glad. Pondering and listing. I suspect that you have sent some black walnut for us to play with, which I appreciate. Do you know what? It would be so fun to do one of these in pretty wood. Is it anachronous to make a travel guitar out of something just insanely expensive and pretty? Probably a bad idea. But anyway. Okay. Yes, Lisa, I'm very much looking forward to reading that, and yes, I have an idea actually. Jeff Williams, thanks guys. I have a few really nice pieces of black walnut I want to use. It's beautiful stuff. Tahoe Mike says, not being able to vote has taken a lot of the fun out of the GGBO for me. I've been watching some of the videos of those I recognize from here, but I can't bring myself to wade through them all. I suppose it's too late for you to sign up as a community build, because community builders do have a vote. From our point of view, the voting system now is the best it's ever been, simply because the public aren't involved. We've sent an email out to everybody and said, okay, here you go. Reply to this email. We know who you are. You've signed up with this email address. We can verify who you are and that you have the right to vote, and tell us who you want to win. We're putting that in a spreadsheet and on the website. That's just, okay, boom, 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 boom. This person, and that person, and we'll tally it up, and it's just streamlined and straightforward. Whereas specifically the first year, it was just all kinds of, I was trying to make up for different sizes of different channels, and it's just chaos. But I do understand that the people who aren't actually building along, I suppose your job is to now start campaigning for the winners, for the people who you want to win. But anyhow. Okay. George Davis. Ben, have you been working on your GGBO? No. We're in October. We're in October. I have the material that I'm going to be doing, but yes, the first video in the series, which was live streamed as a design session, is actually going live tomorrow or Tuesday, which is the kick that I need in my butt to get moving. Unfortunately, I also have a serious deadline for an actual commission. This Cowrie, well, the first of several Cowrie guitars, that also needs to be done before that. So yeah, there's a lot going on. DJ Nitro, what tool can I use to make a guitar neck thinner? I am new here. 100% sandpaper, as various people in the comments below said. Go slow, go careful, just sand it down. If you need to, well, I mean, you need to, but use a sanding block of some sort, and that gives you the control, and yeah, go for it. We're going to be making tiny, tiny versions of these as well. I'm excited. Jeff Williams, Sweet Tea, would you use black walnut for a fretboard? I would. Scott Davies, I still don't know how to send super chats. Grr. I think it's up at the top of the... At the top. Add stream member. Insert ad. No thanks. I think it's up at the top somewhere. Oh no. There we go. It's the opposite of that. It's down at the bottom where you write a message. There's a little dollar thing. So show your support for Crimson Guitars Extras with a dollar thing. And then reactions, and there's create polls. So yeah, I should probably create a poll, shouldn't I? Lisa, no, I haven't yet got my meds, although apparently that's coming soon. Everything's slow. They had to, stop things. But just since the diagnosis, ADHD, for anybody who's not been listening for the last 6 months or so, just the diagnosis has actually vastly improved my life. So, knowing how I work has improved how I work. For the most part. Black Wraith, who's a member of All That Jazz, says, Ben, what is the strangest or most bizarre combination of pickups and electronics you've ever been asked to incorporate into a guitar? Almost, well, it's the Robert Fripp model, isn't it? Which we've now had to replicate multiple times. So that is a Fernandez sustainer in the neck, which is also a mediocre pickup at best. A handmade pickup from House of Tone in the bridge, then a Ghost piezo system in the tremolo that also runs MIDI. So you've got both the sustainer and a humbucker and a MIDI system. At one point I've also done it with coil taps on the bridge pickup. It's just... I wouldn't say it's the strangest or most bizarre. It's certainly the most problematic. Just all sorts of crap going on. And the biggest problem actually with that setup is the fact that Robert wants to be able to leave the guitar plugged in on stage and have a master on off. And for some reason that always gave me trouble. But anyhow, other than that, the strangest and most bizarre would probably be a guitar into which I had to put most of the above: sustainer, humbucker, single coil in the middle, I seem to recall, and then several effects units, including a Zvex Fuzz Factory, which at that time I really didn't like. Nowadays, actually, yeah, I like a bit of fuzz. So, anyway, what can you do? Johan van Loopy says, is there a cheaper way of replicating a flamed effect top than actually using flamed wood? From a very poor disability carer on benefits. Lol. That doesn't sound like a laughing matter, but yeah, I do understand. Well, the cheapest way is to drop us an email through office@greatguitarbuildoff and get me to send you a piece of flamed wood. As a, this is the sort of thing that Great Guitar Build-Off is specifically about. So do that. The next cheapest way is veneer. A flamed veneer would... Veneer is something that gets a bad rap. Do you like ES 335s? 355s, 45s, etc. All of those, they're veneers. They're veneered guitars. They're entirely constructed out of veneer and they sound great and we love them. Many of the top acoustics builds are made using veneer in some way, shape or form. I agree that a solid top is desirable, but the back and sides, not so much. Now, whether that ends up being cheaper or not, without the economies of scale of having, of buying cubic meters of the stuff, not so much. A good piece of flame maple veneer is probably still 20 or 30 pounds. A good flame maple top, yeah, is more expensive. But add to the fact that you're going to be gluing that veneer onto something and spending the time to do it, it's difficult. Now, at one point, I did a little experiment using a hammer, and I thought that it would be interesting to create pressure marks in wood to fake a flamed look by basically hitting it really hard in straight lines and then sanding the dents out and seeing what happened. And what happened actually looked kind of like a figured top. So I should really do that again. I should run that experiment properly. But seriously, Johan, drop us a line, and I will, under the auspices of Great Guitar Build Off, we will 100% send you out a top or two. Nope, that's the wrong computer mouse. JS Trucking's coming with a big super chat. Thank you very much. It says, how would you process this walnut slab? I have a double live edge slab. I think trim one live edge off, leaving the sapwood, and then making the guitar body wings and gluing the sapwood edges in the middle to mimic a book match. How long is a piece of string? I 100%. Some of my favorite guitars have that look, have the sapwood, heartwood look, and make a feature of it. Personally, I tend to use the lighter colored wood on the outside and have the darker in the middle, but it's purely a personal thing. Yeah, I mean, everybody's on about walnut today. It's, yeah, what can you do? Yeah. You say mimic a book match. I would probably actually book match it and make it into a top and a back that is properly book matched. But yeah, that's me. Paul Neal says, hi again. Any experience of using poppy walnut? I'm going to have to Google something. I'm assuming you're talking about Pippy walnut. I can't type anymore. Nope, I'm getting poppy seed cakes. A poppy walnut floor lamp, home base. Honey walnut poppy seed cake. Now I'm hungry. Thank you very much. Basically, if you're talking about Pippy walnut, that's wood essentially with, it looks like bird's eye and it's got lots of knot holes and things like that. I probably have actually used it in the past. I've got a vague memory, and it's the same as using any other burl timber, which you see on the channel every now and then. It's beautiful stuff. Grain goes everywhere, so it's harder on tools and a little bit more difficult to hand plane or scrape, etc. But yes, it's beautiful stuff. Takes finish a lot, and here's an issue with if you're putting guitar finishing oil, for example, on an instrument without grain fill, always go back even after you think that it's dried. So apply the finish in the morning, and sometimes you'll see finish coming through the pips and pops and the grain. And if that dries without being wiped off, in the case of guitar finishing oil, etc., then you have to sand everything back, and it's not fun. Okay, dokie. Aha, sporadic amnesic. Why did the name for Great Guitar Giveaway have to change? So it was originally called the Daily Guitar Raffle, and well, I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be daily, so there is that. But two, just having the word raffle in there would put us afoul of the law, because technically a raffle is gambling, and that's not what we're doing. What we're technically doing is an online prize draw competition, because there are questions in order to get your entry. there you have to answer a question, and that is skill based. Then on top of that, there are also going to be free entry modes, i.e. you can send us a letter to enter into any competition, and essentially for the cost of a stamp and a little bit of effort, you'll get a free entry in. And then on top of that, if I can make it happen, there are going to be essentially, if you place an order through Crimson Guitars, you will be sent a link to email saying, okay, this was my order, this is my order number, I want an entry into this competition. And that's free entry as well. And then on top of that, we're also going to be actually doing guitars where, as a giveaway, where there's just no paid tickets to win a particular guitar, like the very first guitar, which is going to be an almost perfect Gibson Les Paul, and we are completely giving it away. It's, don't buy a ticket, just to sign up and buy a free ticket to enter that draw. So yeah, anyway, it's all sorts of stuff. We're having to do this properly with solicitors and things, so that because it is a very, very it's important we get this right. And with regards to the Dorset Guitar Museum, I really want to get it right, because that won't happen without a competition website funding it, really. Unless I can get lottery funding. Should we try for that? Ha! Ironic. Okay. Haha. Paul Neat says, was Pippy auto carrot? Cut, shape and sound only. So you could try with the planes. It should work. It should work fine. But yeah, it's always a bit more problematic. The nice thing about Pippy timbers is that if you do create some tear out or something, just fill it with a piece of dust and glue. It's so variegated and strange that your repair will literally be invisible, almost no matter what you do. So there we go. Now, okay. Killian Hurahan says, I completely forgot my main question for tonight is, how do I do a black on a flamed maple top? Cheers, everyone. You get some, whoop, there it is. Nope, that's brown, but close. Some Crimson Guitars Stunning Stains, black stain. And if you want a particularly black one, get some black spirit-based stain and some black water-based stain. They've got two slightly different tones of black, but combined they work really well. So, yeah. Okay, David Oddy says, my Crimson kit arrived, but not what was expected. I ordered via a picture with humbuckers, but received Telecaster route. Perhaps the pic should be changed, my fault. There are drop-down menus. There are, yeah, drop-down selections on the website where you select everything and anything that you want, from what types of pickups to what type of, whether you want the neck, the frets done or whatever. Now, I'm sure that we can sort that out though. So David, seriously, drop us an email. I'm sure we can remake it with the humbuckers that you wanted, and find somebody else who needs the one that you've currently got, unless you want to keep it at this stage. But yes, on the website there's drop-down menus so you can select what you want. It's always been a bit of a fiddly system, as has any website that I've experienced, with multiple options, and it's one of the reasons why we're actually putting kit making to bed, to be honest. Okay, this is a 6 foot long, 5/4 inch thick, so it's an 1.25 inch thick, non-figured slab, just the live edges with about an inch of sapwood on each edge under the live edge. It sounds beautiful though. So yeah. yeah, personally, I would, if it's wide enough, I would book match it and make some sort of a hollow body. But if you can make a faux book match that looks close enough, go for it. Big Unit says, if you had an absolutely stunning 5A quilt maple book matched top, 1 inch thick, would you do a thick carved top, or book match those pieces again into 2 half-inch thick book matched tops? Probably the latter. At my current proclivity is towards flat-topped instruments made very, very well and very prettily. I don't think actually made a proper carved top guitar for a while. So at the moment, yeah, I would split it and I'd make 2 tops and I'd make sister instruments out of that timber, and for the channel do 2 completely different things and go that route. That being said, please don't be led by me. Take a coin, throw it up in the air, say heads it's going to be, I'm cutting it into 2, tails I'm going to just leave it as it is, and before the coin lands you will know which one you want to do and stick with that. A beautiful carved quilt top with all that that entails is probably actually the better option. Yeah, I think so. Okay, microphone's still working. We're all good. Yeah, the battery things are fine. Will Roberts has sent a super chat with a sort of animation of, I think, hippos popping out, which I did not realize was a thing, and completely knocked me for 6 as it popped up. Thank you very much for your support and for the amusement. I like that. Yeah. Questions. Ah, Mark Davies. Okay. Mark Davies, hi. I'm on it. I don't ever sit down and do admin. I'm going to have somebody just take over all my email addresses. Okay. Queries, questions, comments, criticisms. Glyn Heskins, I'm shielding a Strat copy guitar with shielding paint. Do I need to paint the tremolo cavity? And do I need to earth the paint somehow? Okay, so I have done that various times. I've painted the trem cavity, but there isn't any real need to do that. Essentially, that is overkill. And again, in the past, I haven't actually grounded the shielding paint or foil in the cavities myself. I just haven't bothered. Now, Big Unit Guitars, who is currently watching, says that in very specific circumstances, actually it's probably worth doing. So just as a matter of course, I now do that. And how I do that, oh, Carol's just sent me a coffee mug. Ha! How I do that is by inserting a screw into the inner wall of the shielding painted cavity, and I screw a washer down around a ground wire that is then connected to the back of a pot. Yeah, that works. Now, most of the time, the physical connection of the pot being bolted into the control cavity will have the same exact effect. I'm just triple checking. These animations are supremely distracting. I love it. We've been going for almost exactly an hour at this point. So yeah, and we're all still here. Fantastic. Now, now, Steer TV says, hi, are you bringing back the Monday and Tuesday live builds? Not at the moment. I really do and did enjoy them, but absolute... I simply don't have time at the moment. There is so much going on, but trust me, we are potentially going to be... There's going to be some seriously cool video content coming out, and it's going to be well worth the sacrifice. Oh, there we go. I'm having a look at JS Trucking and Guitars timber pictures that he's just sent through. Yeah, that's very pretty stuff. Yeah, what you're talking about makes sense, actually. It should be great. Pale Moon Ebony, bloody hell. Uriel Sage, hey Ben, would you rather jump headfirst through a mysterious portal or be haunted by a mean ghost forever? I would 100% rather jump headfirst through a mysterious portal, I think. At least that way this... Oh, would I? No, I'd have to go with the ghost. Because the ghost is at least a known factor in something. Now, yeah, I mean, that would be bad because I really, you know, one of my greatest worries is my workshop burning down. The next is zombies and ghosts, really. So, yeah. No, YouTube, I don't want to insert ads. Thank you very much. We tried that once just to see if it would work, and it wasn't fun. Okay. Creever is leaving us. He needs to go and carry on with his GGBO build. He'd like to finish the freight leveling this evening. See you soon. Have a nice stream. Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate it. Tom Woods. Wait, what? No more Crimson kits? So there are Crimson kits, but only the uncut versions at the moment. Sorry about that. We're talking about data, sending large amounts of data over the internet. I use WeTransfer on a daily basis. Talitha, my sister, who's my one of two editors, she works from home, not too far from me, but Bear lives very far away from us, and he is our other editor. And we all three of us work together very easily via just huge amounts of data being sent by WeTransfer. And I think there's actually a free, up to a 2 gigabyte, I think is free. So yeah, check that out. Yes, there is timber on our website. We're adding more as life goes on. Stephen Hatch says, yes, I did wonder why there were questions involved. I thought it was to weed out the bots. Yeah, it's to stick very carefully within the law, because we don't want to be a proper lottery or gambling, because that's, well, there's oodles of red tape. George Davis says, cherry and walnut are my two favourite woods to work with on anything I'm building. Class and an elegant look. I absolutely agree. Cherry can be a little bit heavy, but... Okay, Peter Israelson says, hi Ben, any recommendations on great finishes to use at home? I'm a first-time builder and don't have access to a spray booth. Flamed maple top, elm back. Oh, actually, all of this talk about walnut. Elm. I love elm. I really love elm. Really, really, really love elm, especially Pippy elm. So, well, the first one is obviously our stunning, our amazing guitar finishing oil. Now this has been developed specifically to work very well for guitars, and yeah, it's one of those things. So you've got a high build or a penetrating. I tend to apply penetrating first, 2 or 3 coats, and then high build. And yeah, it's just very, very simple, straightforward. It does take longer to apply and to get a really lustrous finish because it builds up in very, very thin coats. It penetrates the wood and protects it in that way. It's not a surface finish like a varnish. So there is that. But yeah, essentially with an oil, you apply it, wait until it starts to get tacky, which is generally in a warm workshop 10 or 15 minutes, and then you rub all of the excess away, wait for 3, 4, 5 hours, put your second coat on, wait till it's tacky, wipe it off, and you end up with a finish where you don't have to go back afterwards and rub it flat to then put the next layer on, which is one of the reasons why it's so good. Other than that, you can just a spray bottle of lacquer, car lacquer, that sort of stuff. These days it's getting better and better and better quality. You can even get 2-pack lacquers that you can spray. Buy yourself a cheap mask that would protect you from that. Make sure you get the rating correct and do it outside, making sure that you are not placed such that your neighbor's car gets covered in the overspray. This is important. Unless you don't like your neighbor, in which case make sure the guitar is, I don't know, pink or something. Other than that, we also at Crimson do have a rub-on guitar varnish that works very well. Melamine lacquer as well. And I mean, there's a million options. There's a million options. Guitar finishing oil is and always will be one of my favorites. So there we go. Stephen Hatch is not guitar related, but I'm wondering how far you and number 2 Spawn got with your plan to build a bow. Did you settle on a style or wood type, etc.? He spent most of today gluing pieces of leather together to make a quiver, and then he was eyeing my wood rack, and I'm going, nope, 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 not that piece. That's flame maple. Nope, that's walnut. Nope, that's pearwood. What? Get away from my timber store. That was an almost direct. That was our conversation. So yes, he does want to do it. The other issue is we've got many pets, and he's got a younger brother. So I would almost rather find a local archery club to go and join with him and do that in that case, in that way at least. But anyway, at some point we will make a bow, I guarantee it. I just need to wait until his brother's a little bit bigger. Ah, Johan, I've got you pegged now. Yes, seriously, drop us an email. Okay. I wish I had giant power hammers. Okay, good night, Beth McKellar. Vax Headroom. Ooh, I should try that with a big hydraulic press. My brother has one. Okay. No, Johan van Loopy, seriously. So the comment has been, I'm a bit proud about freebies. I know you have to make a profit and I hate cutting into that, but thank you, I'll explore the veneer tar. The Great Guitar Build-Off was initially just me and a few other builders saying, hey, it's lockdown, let's create some entertainment for people interested in watching guitar building. And it very rapidly became about something bigger than that, and that is about helping people who cannot afford it but want to get into guitar building. You are literally what Great Guitar Build-Off is about. The fact that you're a carer, that you're on benefits, etc., and want to do this, and you're here and you're a member of the community. Hell, you came and you volunteered at Crimson headquarters to help for a day. As you said in a comment a little bit below this one, it's not a freebie. I owe it to you, and everybody who's entered Great Guitar Build-Off, everybody that's helping us create this thing, there is a pot of money that is being created in order to help people exactly like you. So please drop us an email. I insist. Mark Davies, what is the cheapest way of getting a Music Man Petrucci Majesty for a retired old git who's too tight to buy one? Cheapest way is probably just illegal. Other than that, I mean, those guitars have a... you can get them better on the second-hand market, but I don't know. Go on Reverb, save a search, and hope that somebody lists one without knowing what it is. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about the Majesty, with the fact that it's got extra tone woods installed, and very pretty indeed. Okay. All right, I'm officially knackered. I'm knackered, people. Okay, Luna's Luthery. Hi Ben, how difficult is it to make a radius dish without a CNC? What should the process be of making one? Okay, I've never really thought about it. Yeah, I suppose. Okay, you could. This camera's too high, isn't it? You could take a router and hang it from a string on your ceiling, and then turn it on and just wing, and just see what happens. Or not. Probably not. Okay, so all silliness aside, I'm sorry, I have actually suddenly become intensely tired. Okay, so that's the way. Basically, I think what you do is you create essentially a router sled, but this is a 3D router sled. So you're going to have to make a box. Okay, you've got your piece of plywood in the middle, you've got a box with the sides that are raised up. Your router needs to be on two pieces of wood that have got the radius that you want. And essentially your router will rock in the middle, and you will have to move it around, and it can't actually be a box because the radius would be different if you're going from corner to corner rather to edge. So I would say probably a hexagon or something. Well, screw it. A circle. It needs to be a circle if at all possible, even if that circle is made up of multiple different pieces. But essentially you then run your router around the circle, and that will create the radius dish. That was a difficult question. I've never once considered making one of those by hand. Cool. I can still see these animated things popping up. That's so cool. Yeah, Luna. That's the one. The alternative is to buy one. I don't think we currently have it on our website, but it is something that we would happily make for you as well, which would be a little bit easier. Sporadic music. Hi. It's not like I don't talk for a living, really. Sporadic amnesic. I would suggest the archery club I belong to and instruct at, but that's in Buckinghamshire. Lol. That would be awesome to meet you, though. I have met you before, haven't I? Anyway, yeah, Buckinghamshire is a little bit too far for a commute. Maybe one day just as a flying visit. I'm trying desperately to come up with an archery-based joke there, but I can't. Stephen Riggs says, hi Ben, building my first maple fretboard, but inlays have not gone very well. I filled the gaps with glue and dust, but it left dark marks. Any suggestions? Make the inlays bigger, or create essentially route around the inlays, and instead of trying to hide the gap make it into a feature. So, for example, I think Easy Inlays, the company, they sell crushed mother of pearl, which you inlay with super glue, etc. And that way, it's like jazz. You play a wrong note, you play it 3 times, and it's jazz. Maple fretboards with custom inlays in are supremely tricky. The alternative is to plane it off and start again. Sweet Tea Guitar says, I have some extra tops I can donate to the cause if there is a need. As always, happy to do so. We do appreciate it, Sweet Tea. Hold that thought and don't send them to me. If there is anybody who needs some support who is in your neck of the woods, it would be much better if we could ship it from your side. But again, as I said, Great Guitar Build-Off has finally, it's looking like it's actually going to run a profit this year. The last 2 or 3 years, it's cost Crimson rather a hefty amount of cash, which has actually resulted in a net loss for Crimson Guitars over the last couple of years, which sucks, let me tell you. But this year, with the changes that we've made, especially the professional and the way that the Invitational is looking up, holy shit, we've got some cool people in the Invitational. Like, I'm properly excited. Yeah, it's looking like we're actually going to have enough money to do some serious good. And, you know, it's about dang time, to be honest. Sporadic Amnesic says, you did indeed at the London Guitar Show 2019. There we go, I thought so. I'm not as daft as I thought. London Guitar Show 2022, actually. I will be there Sunday, I think it's the 30th of this month, at the London International Guitar Show, which is going to be fun. If any of you are in that area, there's a certain, well, I mean, hey, you're in that area. Give us a shout. Okay. Okay. Well, look, I'm running low on energy, so give me a couple of questions or we'll call it a night. Will Robert says, is there a secret to inlays and stain, or do you have to save the inlays for natural wood areas? Is there a secret to inlays and stain? I don't actually understand this question, which doesn't bode well for me being awake. Basically, you can inlay anywhere, and stain doesn't take kindly to going over glue, etc. So if you're going to be staining after an inlay, you need to make sure that your glue has not spread too far. I hope that I got you, that I got that question right. Okay. All right, we're back up to the walnut, so let's go back down and see what's happening. Okay. Pask Makes will be doing a guitar this year as one of those invited. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. That's from Robert R. As am I. It's excellent, actually. He is a YouTuber who my wife actually watches and really enjoys, as do I. In fact, my wife and I have both been fans of his channel separately, and it was only through GGBO that we both realized that we both have been watching him on our. It's cute, and it's cool, and I'm really happy he's in. Jeroen Verhoeven says, Ben, do you have any experience with chisels and or gouges by the German Kirschen brand? I think it's called Two Cherries in Anglophone countries. Worth buying? Yes, worth buying. Very worth buying. They're actually really good chisels. The vintage ones that I've seen have been excellent chisels, in fact. So yeah. Which Majesty guitar was he saying had different tone woods construction? Doesn't all, I may well be wrong, I haven't actually looked at them for a while, but Ernie Ball Majesty. If I recall correctly, yeah. No, I am right. Ugh, come on. Reject cookies. So yeah, the Majesties, you've got a body that's poplar, for example, and then they'll inlay a flame maple section into the middle, or whatever it happens to be. I think that they use tone as an excuse. The reality is it's just pretty. So, you know. Don't use super glue on maple inlays. It tends to bleed into the grain, discoloring it. That's from Fluid Focus. I absolutely agree. Yeah, in general, if you're using wood inlays in wood, then use wood glue. That's what wood glue's for. Wood. Mr. Zombie 170 says, "Hi Ben, how did you get the confidence to start Crimson?" The reality is that I blame my mother. I was one of those children where I was always told, "Oh, you've got a supremely high IQ, you can do anything you want." And the reality was that I was fully capable of hyper-focusing on, I don't know, dinosaurs. And I'd learned everything I could about dinosaurs, or I collected butterflies for some years and learned everything about Lepidoptera and all that sort of stuff. And I was very good at reading, for example, and I would read. I was the first and only kid able to, at the age of, I think, 9, I was allowed to go into the adult section in the local library and take any book I wanted to, because I got special dispensation. But in other parts of my life, I'm as daft as 2 planks. But essentially, I grew up with a very vastly overinflated sense of my own worth. And I still had that when I founded Crimson. It took Crimson to teach me that actually I really didn't know what I was doing, and I needed help. And that's why I've got a team of fantastic people. That's why I've got management. I've got people who do the day-to-day, who answer the emails, because I'm diabolical at that side of things. The ADHD, etc. I suck at that. Sitting down and making sure that the accounts are in on time, or talking to the accountants, or talking to solicitors, all that sort of stuff that's absolutely necessary, I suck at. So if you are like me in any way, shape or form, do this with a partner. Find somebody who is your opposite and work with them. Or hire somebody who is your opposite and make them work with you. So yeah, I mean, in the beginning it was just, hey, I think I can do anything I want, therefore let's do it. And I had been quite lucky in my life. I grew up with absolutely nothing. And I've had absolutely nothing until relatively recently. We've had a little bit of extra, cash, because Crimson's becoming somewhat successful. And the fact of the matter is that if I can do it, you can do it, period. So, yeah. Okay, that's that. Tahoe Mike says, in high school we made a parabolic reflector by making a wood disc with a paper outer rim. We put it on a record turntable and poured epoxy in it. We left it turning until the epoxy set. It worked well. Holy, that's so cool. That sounds cooler than pretty much anything I did at school, period. Yeah. Yeah, hands down. Awesome. Luna's Lutherie says, thanks Ben. Also, my girlfriend is watching along. She doesn't understand shit and just thought you did a funny dance while answering my question. I did. I got excited. Yeah. Tell her I say hi. Ravencroft says, I mean, there's an archery club near me in Alberta, Canada. Lol. Anonymous Botch says, yo, bowman. That sounds close to me. Peter London. Okay, this makes me feel very good. The router sledge described by Ben was a project described in one of the fine woodworking books. That's excellent. So at this point, after 20 or so years in the business, at this point, I'm starting to actually be as good as I thought I was 20 years ago. Starting. Okay. Anyhow, come on then. Or you could rotate the piece. That was from Vax Headroom. Probably better to make a fixed radius sled and rotate the piece. That's much better. So your router stays there, and then you move it over one, and you just push the piece around, and it's in a circle. And then you move the router one, and you did it much better. Okay. Joe Thornhill. This is going to be probably the last question. Hi Bun, why must we have lacquered maple fretboards when we can have natural, fast maple necks, even if they're satin oil necks? Sure, I sweat more between my thumb and index finger than my fingertips. Dirt, period. It just looks dirty over time, and people want it to look nice and pristine and cool. I've recently been playing a Squire Esquire Teddy with a maple fretboard, because I've never really had any serious time with a lacquered maple fretboard, and really I thought I would hate it, and I actually don't. I mean, it needs a setup, but okay. Stephen Hatch says, Ben, where are the videos from the shed at the back of your garden gone? You know, the dark and dreary ones from the early days. I think they're still up there. There have been some videos deleted or made private, very old ones, but I think those are still there. SMI says, Ben, are you doing videos of the cow rebuild? Yes, I am filming it, but what I'm hoping to get is that you guys will get, I will finish a build, they will edit it, and you'll get, you know, on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the next 3 weeks, you will see this build. It's finished, it's done, it's done. And that should be a bit easier than making you guys wait a year or more. For a hand tool build. It vibrated the first time I touched it. Anyway, okay everybody. Laburnum works well for fretboards. It's not fun to plain, but yeah, there we go. Anyway, we're all done. Everybody, you rule. Thank you very, very much. I sincerely appreciate your support. Yeah, goodbye. Sleep tight. See you next week. In the meantime, yeah, stay frosty. Cheers.